Hello everybody, welcome home humanity. Welcome home humanity to medicine, or the sort of medicine that I try to practice, and I have done for 37 years or so. It's called general practice or family practice, and why this is so important for me, because it's my vocation and my love, and why there has been problems over the years with it, and I think there's even bigger problems now. It is not something that's, I think, adapted particularly well to the modern age. There is an adaptation of family practice that's practiced now, and it usually comes in the form of a big flash medical centre. But I'm concerned that something is missing. And that something missing is the art and compassion of medicine that's to me fulfilling for me, but also I think very effective in helping people, making them feel like an individual, which they are, of course. There's been a tendency in recent times to for the doctor, as you know, to be somewhat of a slave to the inanimate, soulless slab in front of them called a computer. And although that has created much better notes, much better than my handwriting, and that it's quicker to write letters or whatever, it's also distracted the doctor away from a heart-to-heart with the person in front of them, and I think that heart-to-heart is highly important. It's not just a heart-to-heart, it's a heart-to-heart with heads involved too. So the bottom line is that we haven't adapted very well to the new age, particularly the information age, where people are coming in with a lot more information, having Googled stuff, quite rightly so. And we should be in a situation where we sit down and discuss this. Somebody shouldn't be started on long-term medication without at least an hour of discussion, pros and cons, because after all we're into risk management. We're weighing up the risk of being on a medication to the risk of not being on a medication, and we now know that if we're on pills for a long period of time we get more pills, and that as we get older that creates a problem, a real health problem, and we're seeing that. So the real practical reasons to bring back humanity into the medical consultation. I've noticed over the years those who are the most compassionate doctors, heartfelt doctors, also very smart doctors, burn out. It is a huge concern to me that doctors have such a high suicide rate. It is a huge concern that some figures show that 25% of medical students are on antidepressants. Something is very wrong. It's a huge concern to me that doctors do not spend at least 1 year training in nutrition in medical school, and if they haven't been able to do that, then there should be ongoing instruction on education in such matters. We should actually be very interested in that. It lies at the heart, poor nutrition lies at the heart of so many illnesses. Also environmental health, the complexity of our environment, our relationships, particularly important relationships in family, whether we've felt abandoned as children, whether that the complex stresses that we've encountered, whether they are really truly understood or being listened to. There should be a very special space for people to be listened to in total confidence. If we're tapping away at a computer, that person may well think, well, where's my information going? And may hold back with their information. It has to be in confidence. It has to be very special. And that specialness may have gone out of, it's threatened to go out of the way we practice medicine as we become technicians and somewhat slaves and slaves to protocols and statistics that are produced from medical journals, which we know that so many people, so many editors in the past of medical journals have really questioned the validity of the papers and the conflicts of interest or whatever. We have been now, looks like we've been trained in a very narrow way to help people through product. We can only, in a very few minutes of consultation, many people are conditioned to feel only satisfied if they receive a product, and a doctor if they write out a product. That's got to change. It's got to go through a sort of revolution where we allow ourselves to sit down and explore all these areas, the philosophy of the person in front of us, hugely important, but not into these little sound bites, which were incredibly old-fashioned. They seem to have their heyday in the 60s and 70s when drugs were being introduced, where they thought there was going to be a pill for every ill. But I don't think that that has happened. In fact, that philosophy has caused a lot of problems in recent times as we've known more and more about the effects of medication. So, the way to get well is through, for most people, is through a deep understanding of our lifestyle, of our relationships. And the relationship that we have with that person in front is vital to that. That person is only going to take on any information that we can give, any advice, after we have listened really deeply to their issue. And quite rightly so, because there's so much information elsewhere. This is the future. This is the way that we should be bringing back humanity into the job that I love and I continue to love, and I try to do this, but heck, it's not getting any easier. And so I need everybody's help for that. It needs to come from the people, and it's got to come from the hearts of the people. And yet again, we will then establish a role in people's lives that I think is going to benefit both sides. So that's me on general practice. I suppose something that comes from my heart and dear to my heart, and it's a good way to start this series of Welcome Home Humanity. As we go along, we'll probably discover there are so many links, the pressures that we're feeling in bringing humanity back into our lives, as if it never really went, but I think that with technology and the pressure of artificial intelligence, we have to make a concerted effort to make sure that this happens. And I think we'll see the links with all the other institutions, not just the medical institutions, and we'll see common links in the way that we personally can regain the power to change this. So all the best. See you later. Thank you.